I climbed the rope, no problem. Then I had to fight John Anderson with a stick. We sat on Space Mountain with Paul Young on one side and Darth Vader on the other.
What I love about this interview is that you just keep saying things casually.
Yeah.
Remember Me is a show about the sudden rise to fame.
Each week, we talk to the people who burst onto our screens.
We talk about the highs, the lows, and what happens when the attention fades.
From tabloid chaos
to early internet madness.
I'm Maisie Adam.
I'm Scott Bryan.
And this is Remember Me. Hello and welcome to Remember Me. Today, our guest is Hunter from the Gladiators.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited, Scott. Now, to go back to Gladiators, the OG Gladiators, we need to go back, and certainly in terms of Hunter, we need to go back to 1993.
So back then there were only 4 channels. I think at the height of Gladiators, it had about 18 million viewers.
Everyone would watch it.
Everyone was watching it. I think it was that and Blind Date was on.
Yeah.
So, you know, the peak of the 90s, really.
Peak of the 90s. Let's set the scene. What was happening in 1993? Jurassic Park and Mrs. Doubtfire.
So I got terrified. You know the T-Rex bit?
Yes.
I was so terrified when that came on the living room TV. I ran out of the room crying. I didn't see it again until I was 28.
Oh, wow. That's quite
not
an
like
impression.
I was avoiding it actively for 2 decades.
It was scary, though. It came up on the telly this Christmas just gone, and we were all saying it holds up. Like, the effects they had for it then still look pretty good now. Also,
Meatloaf's I'll Do Anything For You, But I Won't Do That was the biggest #1 song of 1993.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't born then.
I was going to say, 1993, I was -1.
Yeah,
I was... got great memories of the womb.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but you being -1 is quite funny.
The worst story I've been told about this was a few years ago, like me and my husband were with my parents and we were talking about favourite holidays we've ever been on. And my husband, Mike, was like, oh, I'd really like to go to Portugal because you've not been, have you, Maze? And I was like, no, we need to go to Portugal. And my dad was like, Maisie, you've been to Portugal. I said, I've never been to Portugal, Dad. He went, yes, you have. We went when you were a child. I was like, no, we didn't. He went, yes, we went in Easter break 1993. I was born in January 1994. I pointed this out and my dad went, oh, yes, you were conceived there. So that's nice, isn't it? That's lovely. That's ruined Portugal for me now.
I mean, technically, he was right. So.
Oh, yeah, he didn't hold back. He told me a balcony was involved. Anyway, it was also the year of the popular romance movie. Speaking of romance, Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it doesn't feel like these facts are necessary anymore.
No.
And also the year the World Wide Web was released to the public.
Surely it was before 93.
Well, in Dorset, where I grew up, it didn't get there till 2010. Pretty much,
like
just incredibly slow. Like you'd have to watch everything on YouTube was like watching something through a cheese grater.
Did you have to watch it on the lower,
the absolute lowest setting, like 144pp or 240pp, and you only had a 15-minute window because I was in a house with 3 other sisters who all needed their slot.
Oh wow! Yeah. If you're watching this in Dorset, please make sure that nobody's on the landline, and you should be able to access it problem free.
It's free after 6.
I'm very, very excited to chat to Hunter.
Yeah.
Do you remember Hunter in the Gladiators?
I do. I mean, Gladiators was a phenomenon. I remember being so excited for it. I think I will talk to him about not being able to get a signed autograph from him when I was growing up and how I really wanted to. There was an event.
Have we got a Scott formative memory?
A little bit of trauma's coming up. A little bit of trauma. So I'm looking forward to that. What are you keen on finding out?
I'm keen to know what it was like when Gladiators ended, because it's such a huge part of his identity. Like, obviously, he's James Crossley, but better known as Hunter. What happened? And I guess that's the huge crux of Remember Me, is what happens when that thing that is so integral to your identity, your public identity, in this case, Hunter, what happens when that goes? It's fair to say from even just a quick research of James Crossley, he's a man who's lived 1,000 lives in 52 years.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to unpack it. This is James Hunter Crossley on Remember Me.
Oh my God.
Whoa! Bugle stick and all.
I'd never leave home without one.
It's a tall man and an even taller.
Oh my.
We have to get
word.
Sadly, this one got snapped in half, but it gives you an idea.
So this is the original.
This is the original, yeah, 1993.
Wow, hello.
Oh, sorry, I got a bit of a... How are you doing?
Yeah, amazing. This is already the best entrance we've had.
It's incredible.
Bring your own bugle stick. It's
Well, you should try it. Give him a little tap on the head so you can feel
This is
only a little love tap.
When I
Yeah,
woke
they're
up
quite
today-
hard,
Yeah,
harder
yeah,
than you
they're
think,
quite
aren't
hard,
they? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I always just thought they were like inflatable.
No.
What's in that?
We've had a lot of concussions on this. Yeah, it's like a really solid foam, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Did you come in public transport? I would have loved that if you were
No,
on there. Just there on the tube.
That would be some anecdote that somebody's got. I think I
Exactly.
saw Hunter with a bugle stick on the Northern Line.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because even in a taxi, it's a bit for
Well,
faff
the
to
thing
fit.
is that because it's 30 years old.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
I took it to a boxing club, and we did the old Rocky thing where we had one foot in the tyre, you have one foot in the tyre, and,
Yeah.
and it just snapped in half. You know, obviously it's
Oh.
worn down over
Yeah,
the
of course.
years.
Yeah.
Well, immediately the best intro we've had.
Yeah, by far.
Incredible. If you couldn't tell, we're joined by a gladiator. It's only Hunter.
Hunter.
Thank you for giving us your time.
No,
we have
thank
so
you
many
so
Much.
questions.
There's so many questions. Like the most I think we've had so far out of any we've interviewed.
Genuinely, I told my parents that I was interviewing Hunter today. They were very excited, and they had 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
These are from Jill and Phil. Okay, so my dad asked, "How old are you?"
52,
My mum asked, "How tall are you?"
6'3".
And then my dad said, "Do you have a partnership with Hunter Wellies? Because if not, you're missing a trick."
I am missing a trick.
My mum always wants to know how tall people are. I don't know why.
Because it's TV, isn't it? You
Yeah,
have
you
no
can't
idea.
get a good. You can't get a good. Were you one of the tallest gladiators?
So Warrior was 6'5". He was the tallest.
6'5".
Yeah, he was huge. They really were, when they originally found me for the show, I was a bodybuilder and they were really obsessed with height.
Yeah.
They wanted you to be over 6 foot.
Oh, okay.
So I think they really wanted to have that. And I know some of them weren't, and they kind of, they'd always say, Rhino, 6 foot tall, but I think he was
Yeah.
about 5'9". But I'd been bodybuilding since I was 12. So by the time I was...
How do you
Sorry,
so
what?
we need yeah.
Sorry, I just dropped that in.
Let's just rewind.
I don't know anyone that's bodybuilded since they
Yeah.
were 12.
I guess also, I mean, it's a 2-part question. Why bodybuilding and why at the age of 12, I guess?
My mum took me to see Rocky 1, 2 and 3 in a 6-hour Rocky bonanza, which was basically a brainwashing session
do
for
it.
me.
That's a hell of an afternoon.
We took sandwiches, tuna sandwiches.
Oh,
And it was like...
lovely cinema
I just
smell.
watched that and I've literally listened to the Rocky... I've just been to the gym before I came here. I've listened to the Rocky theme tune every workout for 35 years.
Why?
Like literally because that is what... That 6 hours was life-changing. So I was training 5-6 days a week at 12. I was cycling
Oh my
4 miles to the gym after school and then 4 miles back. And then by the time I was 15, I was a tank,
Yeah.
So I entered Teenage Mr. York at Mecca Bingo. And the great thing about Mecca Bingo is they had plants on the stage. So you didn't have to have calves because you couldn't
You
see
just
the lower leg.
hide amongst the bonsai.
Yeah, exactly.
What a thrill to miss leg day
Yeah,
once
exactly.
again. I mean, my nightmare.
Nobody in York had carbs. But the crazy thing was, everybody was a bodybuilder. So nowadays you go to I haven't been to a bodybuilding show for years, but you see them like 10, 12 people. You'd have like 30 people in a
Yeah,
class,
yeah.
wrapped on this stage. It looks like the postman was a bodybuilder, the milkman was a bodybuilder, the candlestick maker was a bodybuilder. So it was just, that's that. And then
You were
everybody
doing
else
that at
surrounded myself.
15?
I was 15 when I did the first competition, yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, just in terms of, because I do a bit of strength training
Mm.
and you have to really up your sort of calories to go and get it. Like, what is an eating habit of like
Yeah.
a typical day back then?
So I was eating by the clock because I was obviously naturally quite skinny being so young. So what I would do is I'd take with me, this is because I was still at school, I'd take 6 tuna sandwiches to school with me.
You love tuna sandwiches.
Well, I didn't eat them for about 4 years after I left school. I got tuna like OD'd.
Yeah.
And I had one first break, after geography, I had a tuna sandwich.
Yeah.
And then I had 2 at lunch, and then I had 1 for the second break. And then for breakfast, I had porridge and eggs. And then I had obviously whatever they had for dinner when I came home. So yeah, I was very focused and even at school, I was a bit of a weirdo because nobody else was doing it.
What was the end goal?
Mr. Universe, Junior Mr. Universe. So I just wrote down on a pad when I was 12, I wanted to have the same size arm and the same body weight as my age. So at 12, I was 12 stone with a 12-inch arm, 14 stone, 14 16 stone, 16-inch arm.
Sorry,
So that was...
So at 14, you're already heavier than I am now.
At 14, I was, 14 stone. And then the long-term goal was junior Mr. Universe at 19.
Wow.
So that's what was bubbling inside. So I actually was a doorman from the age of 15 to 17. And that's how I'd buy all my eggs and my tuna. And my dad would take me to the market every weekend and we'd buy 90 eggs.
90?
Yeah, we'd buy like 9 kilos of chicken. And this would be all my doorman money.
Yeah.
And then they didn't know, my parents, until 2 years later.
That you were working as a doorman?
No, they had no idea. And then one of my dad's work colleagues saw me on this lentil seller's door with a bow tie on and a white shirt, or... He was like, isn't that your son?
Imagine being ID'd by a 15-year-old.
Well, this is the thing, it's crazy because it was an underage pub. That was the issue. And I was like 15, so it didn't really make sense.
How does Gladiators come about? Do you apply? Do they come to you? Where did this come from?
So it was so lucky. I was competing in the junior Mr. Northeast Britain, and there was a guy I was with, and we'd kind of become friends.
Yeah.
And I saw him in a magazine. I just said, how did you get in that magazine? And he gave me the contact. I contacted them. And it was called Bodybuilding Monthly. They did this whole piece on me. Somebody on Gladiators, they were looking through bodybuilding magazines, saw that. They said, we'd really love to see you. We think you're great. And I said, well, I'm doing Mr. Britain next weekend. They said, fine, we're going to come to that. So I was in junior Mr. Britain in Blackpool. They came to watch that. And then they basically said, right, we'd love you to come for an audition next week. So bear in mind, I'm still doing my job. And then when I went for the audition, I climbed the rope, no problem. Then I had to fight John Anderson with a stick. And I just had to show like controlled aggression.
What
and that
I love
I was
about this interview is that you just keep saying things casually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a normal day. Then I had to fight John Anderson.
But what's crazy about that is I knew I was fighting him for a job. And he was like, at the time, I don't know, 65 or something.
Yeah.
I was 19, like a tank.
So he was wearing a helmet.
He put a helmet on,
And then it would literally just be a small-time recreation in a show.
Yeah, they just said, go for it.
But not in a studio. Where was it?
It was in a school gym that they'd rented. And the truth is, when it came to doing the games, I am fast forwarding a bit here, you would just get a slip of paper under your door, and that's what you were on. You had no idea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it would be like Hunter, Wall, Jets, Hang Tough, Wolf is on Atmospheres, and that's just what you had to do. There was no negotiation. So what they tended to do in the earlier games is say, okay, Warriors can't climb the wall, but let's put them on the wall in one of the rounds.
Yes.
And then let's put Hunter on the wall in the final because he can climb a wall
can do
quickly.
it.
And that's how they kind of did it.
Bloody hell.
I'm sort of thinking about the audition. Were there like loads of people just in the hallway, just like really stacked guys, or did they let you in go one at a time? I can imagine just a surreal sight of there being
You know what?
all of these people.
Yeah.
Normally that would have been the case.
Yeah.
But it was just me and Zodiac in this one.
Gotcha.
Because it wasn't an open audition. I think they just had me and her in mind at that time.
And then was there any suspense as you were waiting to find out whether you got it?
They told me on the day.
Oh, wow. That was quick.
It's even more bizarre as they said, right, you're going to be Trident. And I went, great, Trident did this sign, the Trident's in town. Oh, no, it was all going off, really.
Yeah.
I even signed some autographs to the kids who were watching, Trident with
Probably
a nice
worth
big
a
T.
lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In terms of its like, limited edition.
Yeah, and then they took me to LWT, which is, they were kind of who made it. And they were like, we sat down and everyone was there. Jet, Shadow, Wolf. And bear in mind, I'd watched it because obviously, and I was like.
Because this was series 2 that
Series
you saw
2.
So in series 1, did it take off immediately? Do you remember? Were you watching?
I think it did, but I think it really shot up by about year 4.
Obviously,
it was when it
because of your
really
involvement.
yeah.
So it wasn't the massive show at the point that you
No.
joined it, but you were aware of.
Yeah. Well, because I was a bodybuilder, I suppose all bodybuilders were aware of it. They just said, this is Hunter. And I thought, oh, there's me, like, oh, I'm Hunter.
Yeah.
It's Hunter, Rhino and Ace. And there are the boys in question.
So that was a quick turnaround, but they had a Trojan, and I think Trojan and Trident were maybe a bit close.
How did you feel about the name Hunter?
I think it's better than Trident, actually.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, because people always say who gave the names,
Yes.
the execs were sat around a table with a bottle of port and they just fire them out. I don't think there was anything more.
I think you
TV's
landed
not-
quite good with Hunter. I think some of them are better than others in terms of names.
Well, I remember Ace, when he got named his name, and he was like, that's such a rubbish name, Ace. It's like, Ace, what? And they said, well, actually, there's a new biscuit out, called Ace, and they're prepared to pay you X amount to do 30 PAs to promote. He said, oh, I actually like the name Ace.
Yeah,
I think
actually. I'm coming around
it's
to the idea.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think sometimes there was method to their madness of naming the gladiators.
I've heard a rumor that Nigel Lithgow, when you first told you were sort of
Well,
a bit
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
and
yeah.
that
No, he did
was a
say
bit
that.
of fire in your belly.
Yeah. So what happened is after that meeting,
Yeah.
I was filming a week later, 7 days.
Yeah. Wow.
So all I'd done is lift weights. All I'd done is do a side chest covered in baby oil. You know, I'd never run for a bus. Bodybuilders don't run for a bus because you lose muscle mass.
I see.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'd never done any athletic. I managed to blag the audition because I knew what I'd be doing. I managed to show that I could have controlled aggression, smile sweetly, you know, throw my little floppy hair back.
Yeah.
But I was not athletic at all.
Okay.
So the first year that I climbed the wall, I'd never climbed barely stairs, you know. So I wasn't great. It was really bad. And I just had to, I remember seeing Cobra rock up the wall and I was next to him and these massive leggings in with these huge thighs and I was like this, like stuck on it, like I was only about 2 feet up. So I was terrible. And then I remember I went in Atmospheres and the thing is, I think people think you practice on the games every week.
Yeah.
We basically get 2 days to practice all the games. So you get
At
maybe,
the start of the series.
yeah, you maybe get an hour on each. That's your practice.
it,
An hour on
really?
each, yeah. So an hour and a half on the wall, an hour, and the Atmospheres, I'd never actually been in one when they put me in it on the
Yeah.
show because they ran out of time. Not only had not been in one, there's this massive ramp to go down, which
Yeah.
I'd never done. So I was
What a
like,
baptism of fire.
yeah, so I was like rolling around in this atmosphere, fell over. It's like a cheese grater, covered in cuts and everything. And it's just because I'd never done it before. So yeah, I was shit. And he
Oh,
made that
God.
very clear.
But that is such a surprise because the whole premise of Gladiators, I mean, the way that it's sold to you, the viewer, is here are people built like tanks who
Yeah.
are incredibly
The best of the
athletic.
best. Yeah.
And let's put up a few punters and members of the public who are quite fit in them
Yeah.
themselves to go up against them. And you, the viewer, just go, well, obviously the Gladiators will beat them by quite some margin. So it's quite a surprise for me to hear where you say,
Yeah.
oh, I was quite shit, because that changes.
Well-
It makes it feel it is a bit more of an equal playing
You were
field.
so
Oh,
like
I
in-
think the contender would have had an advantage over me, to be fair, because most of them
Really?
were ex-Olympians or they weren't just random Joe the Butcher.
Yeah.
They were like super fit people. I mean, if we think we had 35,000 people apply every year, these were the top 10 of those.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they would have had an advantage. But the point is,
Never had thought of. I
Yeah.
never would have thought about it.
yeah,
in that way.
so I left there
Yeah.
very dejected. And
Yeah.
luckily they kept me on.
Yeah.
But that was when the Rocky music came on in my head.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, Atmospheres, how can I recreate those muscle groups and that movement pattern? I'll push a car around a car park. Okay. The wall, well, I'll join a climbing wall. So it's speed climbing. So I do the bigger holes. Well, how do I make myself faster? I'll have a weighted backpack. So I was climbing with 20K on my back.
What?
Yeah, I was pushing cars around a car park. I started playing squash. I became a really good squash player for the movement patterns for Powerball. And I found something for every game that would be relevant to practice for it because we couldn't practice on them except for those 2 days. And then I was still doing the weights, but I lost about 1.5 stone. And I came back and they were like, oh, shit, Hunter's back, you know? And I was like, wait
Yeah.
and see. And I was like, right, let's go up the wall.
The Rocky Redemption arc.
Exactly, yeah. And then from then it just escalated that I became obsessed with not being the best at one. I want to be the best at everything.
But Gladiators, as we mentioned, after that sort of second season, it goes on to become one of the biggest entertainment shows of the 90s. It was a proper point in our calendar. You'd sit down, watch Gladiators.
Well, it was Blind Date,
That's
Baywatch,
it.
Gladiators,
That's it.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
What
that
a
was
combo.
your Saturday
Yeah.
night sorted. So how did you prepare? And if you didn't prepare, or if you couldn't prepare for the level of sort of fame and attention, celebrity, how did you deal with that when it suddenly blew up? Because that's quite a thing to go from a kind of your regional bodybuilding background to basically a staple of Saturday night TV.
Well, when we filmed it, I think we filmed it in June. It didn't come out till September. So I remember when we filmed it, me, Lightning, Jet, and Trojan went to LA. We thought we'll go on holiday. So we all went on holiday and, went to Gold's Gym and all the
Yeah.
things in LA that because we were all kind of into that stuff. And then I came back and I basically had no money left. And I couldn't work because obviously I was doing this.
Yeah.
So I remember signing on the dole when I'd finished the filming. Yeah. So I signed on for about 5 or 6 months and then I started getting the appearances.
And what does that involve? Does that just go to like nightclubs, or is that just? I mean, okay, I've got a very tangential story. When I was 6 or 7, I was crying and crying and crying in the back of the car because my parents were trying to get me to go to an autograph signing of the Gladiators. I've no idea whether you were included at a All Sports,
Yeah,
I think in High Wycombe.
Yeah.
And we had turned up and it had just ended. And I wasn't able
And
to
you were
go and get them. And I
inconsolable.
was inconsolable and I cried for the rest of the
Oh,
day.
no.
That's awful.
It's awful. A
But
little
it's
bit
those
trauma
sorts of
there.
appearances you'd be doing.
So yeah,
Sports
it tended to
stores.
be
Dropped in my trauma
Yeah.
there.
It wasn't really
Letting down
nightclubs
Scott.
at that point. It was more a bowling alley.
Right,
Or,
sure.
Bowling alley?
Or we went. One of the best ones I did was Euro Disney. We opened Space Mountain on
Whoa.
Euro Disney.
That is incredible.
They were so varied because you never knew what they were going to be. But they were often you're obviously promoting something. It might be these truck fests. You drive 5 hours to a truck fest, and there'd be a helicopter waiting for you. And that would take you 50 meters. And I'm arriving by helicopter,
Yeah,
Hunter and Jet. They kept taking 5 hours to get here. Could you not at least go from? And then there'd be this big truck, and then 5 hours back. So that's how we made our money. It wasn't from the filming. We didn't make loads from the filming.
Really?
It was from the appearances. Yeah.
And did you notice a big shift in attention that you got on day-to-day life in the streets and stuff?
It wasn't instant.
Really?
Yeah, it was a gradual slope. And then I probably had 30 seconds of airtime in episode 1. And then I wasn't great at the games and I didn't really say much. So it wasn't an instant thing.
I don't imagine that you're going around the supermarket in the leotard either. So.
No, but we would open a supermarket sweep. I remember doing that show.
Oh, did
yeah,
you?
yeah.
With Dale Winton?
Yeah.
It's not a real supermarket, is it?
No.
No, it's just a
Peek behind the
Yeah,
curtain
yeah, yeah.
here.
But it's just a studio that they
Yeah.
make up to look like a supermarket.
So at the height of it, like I wouldn't have got on a tube or anything like that. It would have been a nightmare.
Really?
Yeah. And then if people know your face, it's a bit more obvious. But obviously, I enjoyed parts of it, but other parts weren't great. So, you're going into a restaurant and everyone's pulling at you. And so you had to be very mindful about where you went. So the thing is, when I was doing that show, because I got so obsessed with winning, I wasn't like going out partying. I was a bit of a robot.
Yes.
I was just like, I knew it wasn't going to be forever. And I wanted to maintain, I didn't want to be this good each year. I wanted to be better. So to do that, you have to live a certain lifestyle. It's not like I could kind
that's
of
interesting. I've
live
always
like,
heard that it was a bit rock and roll, the Gladiators
Yeah,
behind
I've read
the scenes.
that. Yeah, I've
But
read some crazy quotes about that.
But that wasn't your experience.
Well, if you think about it, each show took 6 hours. We were filming 2 shows a day, 2 shows on, 2 days on, 2 days off. In those 2 days off, probably 50% of the gladiators were in hospital to get fixed up. And then you're just, then you might be allowed in the arena to practice the wall for half an hour. You had to do a photo shoot, 2 days on again, 2 days off again. And that was 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So nobody was living La Vida Loca.
No.
Because we were
Just
all
didn't have the energy to go
I'd be
out.
sat there at breakfast, Shadow would have ice on his arms, Jet would have an eye patch on, everybody had something going on. Zodiac could have a broken nose. It was just like, we were a great team and we had lots of fun, but it wasn't like party.
These
Because
hell-raising
how can
antics.
you?
Yeah.
And sometimes the eliminator would be 1 a.m. because
What?
it took so long. Yeah, because the show took so long to film. The second show started at 6. So sometimes, the crowd would have gone and these poor contestants, 1 a.m. and they're trying to run up that travelator.
And then they're
I was
literally
going to say,
going
what about the
over and
crowd?
over
The crowd
again.
would have gone home.
Some would stay. And as the show got more and more popular, they all stayed. But I remember them telling me in the first year they had cardboard cutouts because there was no crowd because nobody knew about it. So they had a little crowd that they did and then they had cardboard cutouts and then they just lit it so you could only see the bottom third.
my God.
If you actually look at an early show, you'll see they've lit the bottom half of the arena and the rest is dark and there's Kellogg's.
like the eliminator doesn't seem hard enough already.
Yeah.
Imagine then
1 a.m.
going for the third attempt on that travelator, and
Yeah.
you can see in the corner of your eye people walking out, going,
Yeah, I mean, it's-
"I'm off home."
What is the biggest misconception about being a gladiator? Like, what do you think surprised you the most about taking it on a daily basis?
Well, I think the injuries were so extensive. And then the problem was if you got injured in an early show, because it's all done in 2.5 weeks, you were, you knew
That's it.
if you wanted to be opening Wacky Warehouse or you had to be on telly because people don't want the gladiator they can't see. They wanted the one that's got the most face time. So it was really important to get yourself out there if you wanted to make a living from it because you couldn't make a
Yeah.
living from what you paid the shows.
No.
It wasn't.
So was there a pressure to continue on even if you were injured, essentially?
Oh my
because you're
God.
thinking,
Yeah.
I've got to keep doing this even if I've got...
In the last show, I'm going to cry telling this story. But
Take your time. Do you want some more water, James?
Sorry.
That's
No,
all
you're
right.
absolutely
Absolutely
grand.
fine.
And only tell it if you're
No,
comfortable
it's
to. Yeah.
they put us against each other, and me being me, I've got to win this. I've got to win this.
Real excitement and expectation in the crowd. The first time ever that two Glads have gone head-to-head over the Eliminator course. Hunter with impeccable credentials, impeccable pecs as well for that matter. 1.90 m tall and 103 kilos. Against him, the ace, 5 centimetres shorter but 2 kilos heavier.
And I dislocated my shoulder in the first event. So they took me into broom cupboard. I said, I'll lose my arm. I'm going to win this show. Cut my fucking arm off. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah,
you can.
And he was like, look, I'm going to inject you with some painkillers that you won't be able to feel your arm. And he just took me into a broom cupboard, put all this stuff in it,
Yeah.
and I won the show.
Hunter storms up the hill, contraflow in 7 strides. Hunter is the ultimate gladiator. Can we have a comment? Thank you. As he crashes through the paper burst, the smart money was on him all the way. As again, Hunter proves himself to be the supreme gladiator.
And I was happy with that, but my shoulder hurts every day.
Still now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But you couldn't do that now.
No,
you know,
of course
but
not.
but I was so adamant I wanted to win it. I would have done anything.
Really, just that you were sort of blinded by this need to be the best. Wow.
And it's funny because there's one point where I come off the hang tough and Ulrika's interviewing me. She says, how's your shoulder? And you can literally see I'm almost pushing it back in because it was so, you know. So
Jeez.
do I regret it? No.
You really don't?
Yeah, I
Really?
don't. Because
Still
I
now?
would have done anything to win that show.
Oh
Because
my-
I am the
But
ultimate
even when it
gladiator.
hurt, but even
Yeah.
when
And that's
it
why.
hurts, but even when it hurts now,
Yeah, but that's the payoff, isn't it? Sometimes you have to
have
weigh up what. And if he'd have said I can cut your arm off and you can do it, I'd have done it. That's how
Really?
in it I was. Yeah, yeah.
That's so indicative of that mindset that only the people who want to be the absolute best.
Yeah.
Because when you, and I think it's only sports people, they have this thing of like, well, you'll do anything to be
But
the best.
thing is,
right?
when you look at it from the outside, it's an entertainment show. It's not a sports show, you know. But when
Yeah,
you're in it, it's a very different mindset. Because, you know, someone else said, what's he talking about? What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
But when you're in it and you're so competitive and you were shit at the beginning,
yeah,
how better can I prove myself than that arc of suddenly
The
being crowned the
ultimate
ultimate,
comeback,
you know?
yeah.
So the ultimate comeback.
Ultimate Gladiator! Well done! Here's your prize. Come on, what have you got to say?
People have always said the Gladiators, they're too big, they can't be contenders, but today the Gladiators want to prove that wrong. We've done 7 events, we've done an eliminator. Believe me, it's very difficult. I just want to thank all the people, you know, all the backstage, the medics, the masseurs, the crew, everyone's been great. My parents are in today, their support, my girlfriend, she's been absolutely fantastic. So I want to thank them very much for leading me the way.
But there was a price to pay because I dislocated it the first time in like year 3 and then I dislocated it 6 times.
gosh.
Sorry about that.
No,
You've nothing
it's
to apologise for.
fascinating. It's such an insight that I don't think we'd otherwise.
Well, I don't
get.
think everyone, it's just because of my personality, I was so invested
Yeah.
and not everyone was like that. Like someone like Cobra would be doing monkey impressions and like, you know, holding the contestant's hand, but we all had different mindsets and mine, I just wanted to be the best. That's it. And obviously
Right.
it's all stems from being young
Yeah.
and doing everything to win. But yeah, I mean,
So they didn't all have that same approach.
but the point is they wouldn't do that now. They wouldn't
No,
let you
God,
do that
no.
now. You know, they just say, what, you're crazy.
They'd
You
write
have to
you
pull
off.
out.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
out. You're out.
So a very weird question, but an obvious one. Did you address them as their names from Gladiators at all times?
Great
or did
question.
you say, oh, hi, Sarah. How's the kids?
So 5 of the men were called Mike. So if you said Mike,
It makes it easier,
if
doesn't
you
it?
said
Yeah.
Mike, everybody turned round, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they also said because all the kids are around all the time, they want to think that we're from the planet Glad,
Of course,
you know.
yeah.
And so yeah, it was a bit weird
You've got
because
a
even now,
world.
Lightning calls me Hunter, which I think,
Really?
yeah,
Which were the ones you were closest with?
it varied really
Yeah.
throughout the years. So towards the end, Ace, and Ace actually lives fairly close to me, so he's the one I probably see the most.
Yeah.
He's a vicar now. I mean, what a
He's a
change that!
vicar.
Yeah.
Ace
Yeah,
is
he
a
just got
vicar.
ordained.
Oh my word! I love the idea of somebody being in the parish, just sort of staring at the vicar, going, "I'm
Vicar
sure,
with 20-inch arms.
sure
yeah.
I clock." Yeah,
Don't mess with God. Don't mess with God.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
yeah. Going, he's pretty jacked. I'm sure I recognise that vicar. Do you still get clocked now from people back in the day?
Yeah, I do. They've got to be a certain age, but it's nothing like, obviously, like it was.
Do you still have the leotard?
Yeah, I've got the leotard. I've got one, and it's in a frame though.
Wow.
You know, with the medal from the show and a few pictures. But they used to give you one every year because they're all hand painted. But
They're
we used
all
to have these charity
hand-painted?
auctions and to raise money for. I think I've got a letter somewhere from Fergie thanking me for my outfit. You know.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Sage well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you have any sort of surreal celebrity encounters? Because, of course, there's millions of people watching, but also, I guess, some of the biggest stars of the 90s were tuning in as well.
Well, I mean, I remember when we did Euro Disney, we went to open Euro Disney, and obviously we didn't realise it, but they'd invited everybody. So there was like Cliff Richard was there, and Paul Young was there, Darth Vader was there. So it was quite bizarre to be sat on Space Mountain with Paul Young on one side and Darth Vader on the other, and I'm thinking, this is quite freaky.
That is quite a
Vader's
picture.
head's flying off halfway up Space Mountain.
That is some
Exactly,
picture.
yeah. Hearing Darth Vader go, just flying down Space Mountain.
As you shoot off.
That's a great impression.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Do you, back to the fame thing of when Gladiators really blew up, obviously you were these very, very sort of the tip-top shape of what it meant to be the best at what you did. You were all incredibly good looking, and the press obviously loved it if any of you were dating or anything like that. Was that difficult to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, the press just seemed to have they just seemed to be able to write anything,
Really?
literally anything, and to a point where you would be like, where are they getting? They're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
I remember reading one quote, and it was from me saying the boys were all going up and having orgies after a show. The boys, just with each other.
No.
What is this even? Oh yeah, right. You know, we've got ice packs on our arms. I'm going to bed at like 1 a.m. Absolutely, just like crazy things, and it just got to a point where you just had to think. You could get angry about it, or you're just going to have to just kind of just not look at it.
Because
so,
you had no real right of reply.
No, you had no right of reply. So you just have to just not look at it, basically. That's how
Did
it
you
was.
not worry that your family would read
Oh,
it?
yeah. Yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous. And also, people would sell stories on you. You know, I had a girlfriend, and I'd written her some letters, and she sold them all to the News of the World, and they were all these letters I'd written to her on the front page. It was like so embarrassing. So yeah, it was.
And it was just romantic stuff.
Yeah. But still, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
just
Well, no, of course. I mean,
absolute gutter stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did therefore, when it came to your private life, did you have to really conduct it in a private way then? Because if someone breaks my trust like that, then that will completely change what I then do in the future.
Yeah. I think it's probably the same for a lot of people. You tend to meet people you date through work.
Yep.
You know, and I wasn't going out to parties. I wasn't going out to bars. I wasn't going out because I was living quite a straight life. And also, I didn't want to be the headache of all the people. So a lot of the people I dated would have been attached to the show. That's the thing. And then that creates the problems you're talking about with the press, because then they just create all the drama around those dating things,
But
you know.
of course, as well, it makes sense for you to date that person because they're one of the few people who can understand and relate to what it's like being in this weird
Well,
sort
exactly,
of sphere of intense
so I
scrutiny.
think, I mean, the fame had its perks in the sense of it was great, some of the stuff that it brought you, but then obviously there was the downside. But that's, you know, some would say, well, that's your fault for being famous.
Back then, the press, they had such sort of unadulterated access.
I mean, 3 of my friends have just had a payout for phone hacking.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm sure mine was hacked. I can't prove it, obviously, but some of the stuff that came, I thought, how are they getting it?
How else would you know?
Yeah, but a couple of my friends have got massive payouts, and it's just because the phone hacking was so prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this was all in that exact era of time, you know. So I don't know, but you just have to roll with the blows. The pluses definitely outweighed the cons, and being someone that loved being physical, loved competition, it couldn't really have been a better job for me. So, you know, you kind of roll with the blows.
What are you on? You do social media?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, the thing is, now I run a sound healing school and I run a handpan academy.
Oh wow!
So it's quite different. But most of
We
my
need to unpack that. As
yeah. Most of my work I get via social media. So for me at the moment, it's a great work
It's a
tool.
great thing.
And if you look at my social media, it tends to be all based around gongs and handpans, which is my job now. So
how did you make that transition to gong?
Yeah.
Baths and handpans, like it's quite a handbrake.
It's strange. Gladiators brought me pantomime. Pantomime gave me time on stage. I did 21.
That's a big cash cow.
You did
Pantomime.
I've done
21.
21 now. I've done 21. At that point, I hadn't. And that's how I fell in love with stage.
Yeah.
And then I thought, what am I going to do? I've done at that point, let's say 11 pantos.
Yeah.
So let's spend 2 years learning to
What
be
were
an
you
actor.
in these pantos?
Well, Robin Hood, Little
Yeah.
John, Aladdin, the Prince, like whatever.
Was it
really.
quite daunting when Gladiators ended? Was there a sense
Oh,
of
yeah.
kind of, oh my God, where do I go? Because so much of your identity was tied
Completely
to Hunter.
taken, yeah.
And you're
Really?
so driven as well.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, what's the next
Yeah,
goal?
it was very difficult
quite
to
scary?
know what to do. Well, I didn't know what to do. So I just got sick of touring. All I got was tours. And,
Yeah.
it was great in America, LA, New York, San Francisco. Here I was like, Grimsby.
It's not quite the same, is it?
So it was
The
just
San
like-
Francisco of the UK.
I thought, I've got to do something else. So I started competing in strongman. And then I thought, okay, I've got to knock this on the head, but I just want to get a world record before I
As you do. I love it.
before I retire.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm never going to be as strong at pressing because I'm not as strong. So let's look at niche world records. So I found this Dinny Stone world record. It's a grip world
Dinny?
record. It's a Scottish world record. They're called the Dinny Stones. So it's 2 stones. One's 188 kilos, one's 144, and they're on rusty metal rings. Donald Diddley in like 1890, whatever, lifted them. And so it became this big
Easy
strongman
lemons.
feat, this record, to lift them and how long you could lift them off the floor. So I trained for that for about 9 months and I got the world
word.
record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
Congratulations.
But this is a long-winded to how I got into handpan and gongs.
Yeah.
The bones in my wrist shifted, they moved 3 mil from the stress of this grip record.
Ooh.
So I went to the doctor, did an MRI, and they said, what's happened is the bones have actually twisted out of the joint slightly.
You okay?
It's bizarre because it didn't hurt. They've just, you can
it just
see they've
didn't
just
hurt.
moved, yeah? But the doctor said, you need to keep your wrists moving. And he did this, and somehow that's how I got into handpan. So I then thought, I've got to shift all that energy and that passion into something else. And then that's when I've always been musical. I've played guitar in bands and stuff.
That was to come from somewhere.
And that's how I got into the gongs. I have a gong.
What's the benefit of gongs? 'Cause
It's
I'm a
really for
complete
stress
outsider.
relief. If you imagine everything in your body vibrates at a certain pace, but often you're holding stuff in pockets. One of my favorite phrases is the issues in the tissues. So you hold memories, you hold all sorts of things within, so what came up for me earlier? It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
came from nowhere because
Yeah,
it's stored
'cause
in
you're
there.
holding it.
Holding it in, yeah, I'm holding it in. So what the gong bath does, it helps retune the body and it almost brings all that stuff up. And it's one of those things, like anything, relaxing is a skill. We're not wired to relax anymore. Everybody's brain is like this.
Yeah.
So we're all living constantly. And if people actually spend time practicing relaxing, they're less stressed, less anxiety, better sleep. And my sleep was really bad. And I think I got into gongs. I went to a gong bath by mistake in Bali. And then,
How did you go by mistake?
I thought it was a pyramid tour because it was a gong bath in a pyramid. So they built a pyramid.
I love this interview so
Yeah,
much.
I was like,
It's so
and I went in
good.
there, there was 200 mattresses. I'm like, what have I walked into?
I feel, I have to take off, I have to peel
I should have
off.
brought one for you.
I know,
I'm sure I've got one
like,
kicking around.
do you still have some at home?
I don't know where they are, but I probably do, yeah.
Okay, well, the signed autograph that I've been waiting 25 years
Oh, just if we could tell little
for. If
Scott
I could
who was
tell my
crying in the
dad
back
to
of the
say
car.
it was all worth it in the end, I would.
There you go.
Be strong.
Be strong.
I love it.
I am. Thank you so much.
What a joy. to
Thank you
speak
so
to
much.
No, thank you.
It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
joy. Thank you.
Hunter, James, what do we talk? What do you like?
My
to
middle
be
name is
called?
actually Hunter, so it's James
What?
Hunter.
No, sorry.
Crossley, yeah,
Why
yeah.
have we only had this at the end? Thank you so much, Hunter. Which I just love is the fact that it's your middle name. That's really just made
Blown
me
my
feel
mind.
so proud. And also to play us out, you thought handpan.
I have indeed, yeah.
Hunter, take it away. a cover?
It's a meditative play, one that we play, yeah.
I feel like a new woman.
Like and subscribe to us on YouTube or at Instagram at Remember Me or on our TikTok page at Remember Me MDS. And you can also follow and watch us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Danny, what does MDS mean?
Mic Drop Studios, like and subscribe.
Sorry, yes, Mic Drop Studios, like and subscribe, says producer Danny. You can email us at rememberme@micdropstudios.com. And you can also visit us at micdropstudios.com/rememberme. Don't forget to leave your comments below about today's episode. We do read every single one. Until next week, goodbye.
Bye.